As he dodges more attacks, he once again blames his Ethereum. He stops himself though as he decides that he can't rely on others. He has to overcome this on his own, otherwise he will never be able to win against the Keepers. Sakurama can't believe that he's really planning to fight until all his enemies are defeated, and Hikiro demands that Fire D come out of hiding. His next attack clears the area, so Hikiro wonders if D got away. Just then, D explains that he would never run, and this is really just a game of hide and seek. He reveals that he was one of the trees, and shockingly takes hold of the divine artifact replica. It's his victory as he prepares to use the weapon, but the thing just burns his hands as it begins to melt. Hikiro explains that he's only able to anticipated that they would be found by Hikuru. He knew that Fire D had no chance of winning against a divine artifact replica, so this crazy guy cut off his own hand. D pointed out that he's not a monster, so won't grow back, but Sakurama said it was nothing compared to the injuries that the monsters have suffered. Fighter D realized just how crazy he was, but Sakurama had a plan. Tricking Hikiro is the only way D can survive, and the best way to do that is by convincing Hikiro that they didn't switch bodies. Once Hikiro... They can really do. D agreed to Sakurama's plan, but came up with the idea for them to have a match. D said that he would crush the Ranger Force first, but Sakurama declared that he would fix the Ranger Force before that. Thanks for watching my recap. Sign up to my free...
क्या तुम्हें पता है सोलर लेवलिंग में इग्रिस जो जिन्हों की शैडो आर्मी का काफी इंपॉर्टेंट हिस्सा है और इग्रिस देखने में किसी बड़े वॉरियर की तरह लगता है। इग्रिस की पूरी बॉडी एक ब्लैक कलर के आर्मर से ढकी हुई है जो उसे हर तरीके के अटैक से बचाती है। उसके सिर पर रेड कलर के हेयर है जैसे कोई ऑर्नामेंट। इग्रिस लॉयल, रिस्पेक्टफुल और वॉरियर फॉर्म में चिविलरस भी है। हर बार जब वो अपनी लोकेशन पर एक लड़ाई खत्म करता है तो वो अपने मास्टर को रिस्पेक्ट करने के लिए उसके सामने नी डाउन भी करता है और उसकी खासियत है कि जब भी वो अपने किसी दुश्मन को हराता है
running away. He calmly asserts that he needs to use the divine artifact to transform again, so Tokita just gets out of his way. However, Tokita seems to suspect something. He says that he is impressed with how Red is able to deal with trash mobs every week, which upsets D, but Suzukiri reminds him to remain calm. D calmly states that the trash mobs are still monsters, so they can't be underestimated. D uses his ability to unlock the entrance, but Tokita explains that he doesn't care about underestimating them. He's just glad to have a justified reason to eliminate the monsters every week. D keeps his cool as he says that he wants Tokita to keep that attitude, and enters the room. Inside, D is shocked that Red just left his divine artifact out in the open. He wonders if it's a trap, but determines that this is just what Suzukiri meant when she said that the Rangers are incomplete. Red doesn't even see the monsters as threats, so D is furious that he would have gone upon them that way. D vows to make him pay and takes hold of the divine artifact. D finally holds the item that has been tormenting them for years, but just then he is shot by Tokita. Tokita realized that Red smelled different, and he's glad to see that he was right. This Red is an imposter. D is shocked that he would shoot him over a smell, but Tokita points out that the real Red Keeper would never have fallen for a surprise attack. D tries to warn Tokita to stop, but Tokita just keeps shooting him. Tokita explains that the monsters creep him out. They are able to regenerate, which probably makes them think they can win the battle one day, but Tokita points out that this is why they are weak. Humans will always die someday, so the fear of death makes them grow. Tokita lets out a maniacal laugh as he's done shooting D, and he declares that it's time to end him. He takes hold of the divine artifact, and D is shocked that someone other than a keeper can use one. This will actually be Tokita's first time using one, but he declares that he will gladly test it out on D. D pleads for him not to as he doesn't want to die, but Tokita just mocks him for having those be his final words. D explains that he actually has more to say, and reveals that he has a bunch of dynamite. Tokita wishes he would have said that first, but D points out that all that shooting Tokita didn't let him say anything. D threatens to blow up the entire place, so Tokita puts on the divine artifact. The tables have completely turned as Tokita begs for his life now, and he asks D not to play dirty. D reminds him that the monsters came to achieve world domination. He lights a match and declares that he's giving Tokita the fear of death that humans like so much. Tokita is indeed afraid as he begs him to stop, so D surprisingly just hits him with a golf club and knocks him out. Afterwards, D makes his escape, and Suzukuri compliments him on his strength. He did a great job, so she is glad that she chose the right person to team up with. D has heard enough though and demands that she stop praising him. D thinks about how he finally managed to win for once, but for some reason he's really irritated. Suzukuri thinks he should reward him after he reaches the rooftop, but D points out that he doesn't need a reward. Just then, D explains that he can't talk right now as he is busy, and we see that it's because he has been found by the Red Keeper. D wonders what he's doing there, and points out that he should be fighting monsters. Red says that this is not an issue, because there is one in front of him right now. He explains that this can all end with D returning the divine artifact, and he can just disappear after. D refuses and just attacks Red, but all his attacks are easily dodged. D furiously tells him to stop showing off, but Red is clearly just toying with him. Red is surprised when he sends his hand into the sky and uses regeneration to launch a metal sphere at Red. However, D is then the one to be shocked when Red just uses a simple pipe to send it right back at him. The divine artifact and D's arm go flying off the roof, so D jumps after them. Red is glad to see that D managed to grab the divine artifact, but D points out that he had to let his left arm fall to do it. Red commends him for prioritizing the divine artifact over his own arm, but he insults D's appearance, as he now just looks like a monster again. He points out that D has failed, and he calls him a loser. D is furious as he points out that he's doing pretty well for a weak monster. He explains that he's using his full power, so he demands that Red stop holding back. Red lets out an evil laugh and explains that he has no reason to defeat a mere fighter when there is no audience to see it. He reminds D that he has a role to play just as a news helicopter appears. The reporter declares that Red has chased down a monster that escaped from the arena. It turns out that Red was just waiting for the cameras to arrive, so now that they have, he's ready to go all out. He explains that hundreds of thousands of people are watching their TV, excited to see D lose. They are waiting to see him die pathetically as his limbs scatter everywhere. Red knows just how to humiliate D, as he points out that his entire life has been a disgrace, so he can at least do the entire world a favor and die for their entertainment. D isn't like the other fighters though, as he is sick of being ridiculed. He declares that instead of letting them watch him die, he will shock the crowd when they watch a weak fighter defeat the leader of the Rangers. Just then, D is surprised when Red collapses to the floor, and he claims that it's because the injury he received when fighting the tiger monster.